All right. Welcome back everyone. Dito sa latest episode ng Deep Dive. Kasama natin ulit, of course, our one of our favorite guests, our really legal luminary. Kasi tomorrow we're gonna have Ronald Llamas, so we need the legal first. Justice Antonio Carpio, retired, of course. Justice Carpio, thank you so much for joining us, Justice.
Yeah, thank you again, Richard, and thank you to our viewers.
Thank you, Justice. Marami tayong pag-usapan, including yung Independent Commission on Infrastructure na there was some confusion about membership and all. So we had to have some conversation over that the other week, although hindi nagtugma yung atin schedule. I was also on the move. But Justice, before we go that, also Ombudsman, also PhilHealth issue, very important, some big development on that. I want to first get your thoughts on what happened yesterday, particularly yung nangyari sa Mendiola in contraposition to what was the case in ETSA. What is your observation, Justice, that on September 21st, marking something relevant to the dark legacy of Ferdinand Marcos, another Ferdinand Marcos has basically opened the Pandora's box and basically inspired indirectly this kind of protest. Nevertheless, very particular yung at least yung trillion peso March, folks, na hindi resign Marcos ang kanilang position. Why Justice, was that important for that clarification, especially in light of what happened in Mendiola?
Well, because this is really anti-corruption. The issue here is the corruption of the flood control projects. This precipitated the march, and uh, we want to focus on that, no? But of course, that's very broad because the people involved there are not only the Duterte people, the Romualdez people, but also supporters of the president himself. No, so uh, it does not mean that we will not be looking at the flood control projects uh, of his party.
Wait, may mga loyalists pala, Justice. Ang nakita ko lang isang Ilocano, si Chavit Singson. Like, what is your read of Chavit showing up? Does Chavit think this is his parang 2001 wedding expose moment? What is your read of Chavit? What was he up to? What is he up to? May mga pro-China pa siyang pinagsasabi nung isang araw eh. I don't know what's going on with that guy.
Well, I think he has also flood control projects in his province, and I think uh, it was a preemptive move on his part. Ang sabi niya, unahin natin, let's investigate, pero unahin natin ng Ilocos Norte. Unahin
Paano
natin yung
bumaba sa
probinsya.
sur? Or baka just
Dahil
for like, i-keep natin sa
pag
norte,
nauna
wag
yung
na natin
Ilocos
sa baba.
Norte, pag inuna yung Ilocos Norte, all hell will break loose. Matatabunan lahat.
Matalino siya kung ako sa kanya.
So I think
Batanes muna.
it was a preemptive move, I think.
But aside from that, just don't you see like, bakit may mga sinasabi siya parang pro-China na parang weird? Like, what's going on there?
Well, because remember, he has also he does business with China. He distributes Chinese EV vehicles here, and and well, his province also gets a lot of tourists from China.
Well, as long as hindi yung mga sand na ginamit sa reclamation may galing sa Ilocos. So Justice, what happened in Mendiola, this whole Chavit drama, Walk of Fame, shame, whatever, how worried you are, Justice? Kasi again, this goes back to what we discussed last year, Christmas time. Sabi mo, you're worried about RevGov, you're worried about opportunist people, insidious forces. Do you think we got a taste of that or kind of a flavor of that with yung gulo na nakita natin sa Mendola and some of may salpakan din yata nangyari sa EDSA the other day eh. But what is your read in light of the
Yes,
RevGov fear?
yes, this is the 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 violence in Mendiola that was instigated uh, by those who want to topple Marcos from the presidency. And in fact, they were also at Campo Aguinaldo asking the military to withdraw support to the president. They had some generals there, no? So I think that was coordinated. And the fact that those hoodlums in Mendiola were practically in uniform. They were clad in black and wearing masks, and you can see that they were really attacking the police. They were the ones attacking the police. So I think they were a paid mob. With they were hired to precisely do that, no? To try to instigate something like what happened in Nepal and in Indonesia, but I don't think the overwhelming majority of the people who attended the rallies are for that. I mean, they want a peaceful rally. They want uh, everything to be done within the Constitution. No? So that's the big disconnect there. The the pro-Sara people were wanted uh, BBM to resign, and they went to the extent of using violence to instigate more violence. No? But nobody followed them.
Kaya nga, dinisown sila, Makabayan, Akbayan, all the groups and all. What is your idea about the other
And
side?
even Vic Rodriguez apologized for them. In other words, tao nila yon. Yeah, they apologized.
Akala, wow, I mean, at least that's magnanimous of him. At least to admit that may kinalaman sila in one way or another. Well,
But you can see that they were really determined to fight the police no matter what. I mean, they were the aggressor. You can see that. So they were really primed. That means they were paid. For them to do that, they were paid.
yeah, Ojon saboteurs, no? Pero parang 3,000 lang ng bayad, Justice. Who would risk his life for... I mean, I don't want to be mean, but I think they were underpaid. Kung ako sa kanila, mag-labor union ako and then I'll negotiate better deals. Di ba? Like, if you're gonna risk
Baka
your life,
baka
sana
may
naman 30,000.
success fee.
Ay, parang output-oriented ba yan? Pag,
Baka
nakapasok sa
sinabi
Malacanang,
pag umabot kayo sa Malacanang, whatever you can get there, inyo na.
yan, Vikings ba yan, Justice? Parang war, booty. Grabe naman yung Justice. Pero kasi ko, 3,000 lang ba sa kanila? They risked their life. I mean, on a serious note, I mean, there was even news of one fatality. I mean, condolences if that were true. I'm still waiting for confirmation. But I saw some very, very sad scenes of violence. Pero yun nga, 3,000, parang low budget masyado, Justice, no? You would have imagined if the sophisticated people were behind this.
Well,
So,
well, as usual, the budget was bigger, but may hati-hati yan eh. Pagdating sa people on the ground, madami ng cut. Parang ano yan eh, yung flood control commission.
Ngayon, maraming mga district engineers, assistant district engineer. Kaya kawawa pagdating doon. So sila yung flood control. Kumbaga yung 3,000, siguro yun yung 3%. Original budget, 100,000. Actually, maganda yung investigayan, Justice, kasi labor rights yun eh. Karapatan nila. They try to earn that money. I mean, kahit mercenary ka, di ba? You have rights. Di ba? Meron ka
Mm.
dapat kontrata eh. So, sana, kasi I mean, it was so ridiculous. Interviewin sila ng media. May isang reporter nga na-injure yata eh. Sabi niya, then dito lang kami. Sino ba nagpadala sa inyo? Hindi nila masagot eh. Hindi, kanya-kanya kami. Pero lahat sila may same mask. Lahat sila may dalang... I mean, obviously, there was a conspiracy there. It was orchestrated.
Yeah, basically they were hoodlums. They were just hired to do that. That's why they don't have any. They cannot speak about their cost. No, they, they were paid just to do that.
Kaya nga, underpaid nga sila sa the risk they took. Pero siguro dahil sumikat sila ngayon, nasa headline sila ng mga international news eh. Which by the way, Justice, I mean, I will go to the PhilHealth issue and BBM shortly, no? Because that's relevant in light of the discussion about comparison to Indonesia. I just had a discussion with some experts in UBC, University of British Columbia and Ottawa, sorry, in Vancouver the other day, no? And we were making comparison with Prabowo. Grabe talaga sa Indonesia, medyo sabog talaga yung government nila eh. Kumpara sa atin, even, you know, but I want to talk about the other side of this equation. Just how do you read the fact that napuno ay talagang na-over talagang completely na crowd yung EDSA eh. I mean, I remember I really watched it. First it was 2 lane, then 3 lane, then the whole EDSA was taken over na by the crowd. It looks like even the police were overwhelmed. I was watching them but it's like daming tao, wala na eh, 'di ba? Were you surprised by the sheer number of people who showed up, Justice, and also the discipline and passion they showed?
Well, they were projecting about 30,000. I said, I think it will go higher than that now, because I could feel that the people were really angry. And the church mobilized, the Catholic schools sent really delegations. No? So I expected it to go beyond the estimate. No? But even then, it was surprising for me because I think it reached over 200,000. No?
Absolutely, hundreds of thousands easily. You could sense us. The reason I can say
Yeah,
this is because I was in Hong Kong in 2018 during the protest, and the estimate was around 100, And then I could see similarity at least at around 150 or 200,000. You get a sense that once you see
yeah.
hundreds of thousands, you know you're among hundreds of thousands, not
Mm,
just thousands
mm.
or tens of thousands. How do you feel about that, Justice?
Well, I think it was an expression of the majority of the people. They're just fed up with the corruption, and it's just mind-boggling the way they and so brazen that they have ghost projects, very substandard projects. You have sea walls that have no steel bars, no iron bars. So it's really just too much, and I think that's the right indignation. And I'm happy that the young people were all there, the youth, because this is really their future. No, and myself, I was there with my wife and my daughter and granddaughter, so 3 generations.
Wow. Well, wow, that's amazing, Justin. We didn't catch each other. I didn't even catch Ronald. Si Ronald, busy kasi I lost touch of him. Naabutan kayo
Yeah,
ng ulan?
he was shuttling back and forth, and I think he got caught up in the traffic.
May drone shots pa siya, ha? May nagde-drone pa si Ronald. Alam mo si Ronald ang nag-drone kasi banking-banking yung picture. Sabi ko, hindi ganyan yung drone, yung hindi ganun. Dapat smooth yung ganyan drone.
Mm.
Kasi Ronald yata ang, bukas tanongin natin si Sir Ronald. But just going back to this, now let's go to the meat of the discussion because as you correctly pointed out, yes, things were peaceful yesterday, pero obviously galit na galit ang tao. Yung mga DDS ka na dumating, binubuaway sila, si Chavit, si Ipe. I think these DDS people don't realize ayaw sa kanila ng mga tao, di ba? Medyo lawas na sila. But going back to this, the difference with Indonesia is doon talaga ang sabog ng gobyerno eh. So, the proximate cause, the trigger was yung namatay yung Grab driver, di ba? Doon sa police
Mm.
crackdown. But the proximate cause was Prabowo created his own crisis without any need to do anything. Like, he introduced an austerity bill, slashing subsidies and support to people, but inakyat niya yung benepisyo at pribileyo ng mga oligarchs and mga politicians. So he really asked for trouble. Imagine mag-austerity ka, kawawa lahat ng tao, tapos biglang iakyat mo pa yung sahod ng mga politiko. Talaga he was asking for trouble, di ba? And then nangyari itong karahasan sa isang Grab driver nung namatayan, then talaga nagkaroon ng trigger. So yung proximate cause and trigger. You look at the Philippines, well, I think both of us can agree the police showed maximum possible tolerance, although there were some
Yes,
there were some violence and unfortunate incidents, but the police at least tried to be as tolerant as possible. Even the president said people have right, blah blah blah. And then more importantly, while Prabowo is creating his own trouble, you can also say BBM is creating his own trouble by opening the Pandora's box. But at least he opened up the discussion, right? At least he's welcoming or at least accepting that there's public anger. That's what Secretary Remulla said. And now he make this move on PhilHealth. So what is your read, Justice? Is he looking for an off-ramp here? His cousin was taken out as the Speaker of the House. A DPWH ex-secretary could face charges. He's projecting himself open to investigation himself. Like, what is your read, Justice? Is that PhilHealth concession, if I don't know, or correction rather, part of a bigger package that he
well,
could
the
offer?
way I look at yeah, The way I look at PhilHealth, I think they realize now that they will lose, and that could add up to add to the anger of the people,
You mean Supreme Court lose
because
or let lose? Supreme Court case, you mean?
I think they will lose. I mean, the decision has not come out, but my assessment is they will lose, and the people will really get mad because that's their health, and this is money, medicine for the poorest of the poor, and they are already drowning in floods, and you still don't give them the health benefits that they deserve. So it will add really to the anger of the people. So inunahan na nila. But there is a sequel to that, Richard, because okay, we didn't when we filed that we questioned only the transfer of the funds to PhilHealth, but they also got a bigger amount from PDIC, 107 billion. What they transferred in PhilHealth was 89 billion. We did not include the PDIC because I said let the Bankers Association question that. But the Bankers Association, of course, they didn't want to displease the government, so they did not file. But we are asking now if the government, as government now has decided to return the money, on the same ground, they should return also the 107 billion that they took away from PDIC, because that's also trust fund. This because the money comes from for every deposit you make, peso 1 peso deposit you make, the bank is required to uh, send to PDIC X%, and the bank without that, the bank should be giving you that as interest to you. So your interest really is reduced by that amount that is remitted to PDIC as insurance, no, to build up this insurance fund. So that's really depositors' money, and that's a trust fund that can be used only for withdrawals, no, to stop bank runs. So, but they took that, and I don't know where they put that. They probably use that to fund the flood control projects.
So
So,
may habit na naman.
so yeah. So of course, they will say that they use it uh, to put up health centers, whatever. But well, when you put it in the treasury, national treasury, that's commingled with all funds. So you cannot say it was used for this or that. Part of that went to percentage-wise, part of that went to the flood control projects. Uh, so we are now demanding that the government should also return the 107 billion that they took away from the trust fund. No?
So more preemptive than corrective, and it says a preempting an incoming legal defeat. So, Justice, anong dapat recompense ng government na ito to not only fix this PhilHealth mess, but also I don't want to use the word placate, but clearly people are asking for blood. I don't know kung di ba nakita mo yung speech ni Vice Ganda, di ba? Kulang na lang sabi niya, pa-EJK na natin itong mga kurakot, di ba? I mean, di ba? I mean, it's almost
Well,
going there, di ba? Pa-EJK ka na yan. Parang ganun na lang almost. Sasabihin na almost. Kaya nga nagsalita si Cardinal Ambo na, wait lang, papunta na naman tayo sa
yeah,
Duterte mindset eh.
yeah. Our assessment, Richard, is this: the House of Congress is controlled 80% by political dynasties. The Senate about 50% plus. The LGUs about 50% plus. So to maintain their control of their districts, their provinces, towns, uh, what the political dynasties do is to insert pork barrel in the DPWH's budget. They get it from PhilHealth, from the DepEd, from AFP modernization, from 4K. They put it in the budget of DPWH, and the understanding in the bureaucrats and everybody in government is that is for the that is for the public works project of the congressmen. So if the contract is awarded, you have to get the consent of the congressman in that district. And he will say, okay, give this to this contractor. It's all unwritten, but that is the understanding. That's why, in
SOP.
fact, that's why former DPW Secretary Bonon was saying that he practically had no control. He really had no control because that is the understanding. That's the pork barrel of the congressman. And when they put it there, the understanding is when that is awarded, you have to get clearance from us. And that is exactly what this Alcantara, Bryce Hernandez was saying. We have to talk to the congressman because that's his.
OPS.
Although you don't see anything there in writing. So, so that is how the political dynasties maintain themselves, because the people, they have to buy the votes during the election, and that maintains them. And so, and it gets bigger every election cycle. Every year it gets bigger. So the analysis of our analysis that we have to break this cycle, and in the Constitution it says the state shall prohibit political dynasties as may be defined by law, but Congress has never defined it because that will kill the source of their election funds. So for the last 40 years, they have not passed that law, although it's mandated by the Constitution. So that's why we went to the Supreme Court and asked the Supreme Court to order now Congress. But the Supreme Court is not acting as fast as we want. So that's why in the speeches of Cielo Magno and Heidi Mendoza, they said we will move for a people's initiative. It will now be the people who will enact the anti-political dynasty law pursuant to the initiative law. So that's one of our solutions. No, it's very cumbersome because you have to get 3% of the registered voters to sign in every district and 12% nationwide total. But what is our alternative? If the Supreme Court will not act and the Congress will not act, this is the only legal way to do it. And so we will exhaust all legal means because the alternative is RevGov. I mean, the people are saying there's nothing we can do. We cannot rely on Congress. We cannot rely on the Supreme Court. They'll never do it. So the only way to end this, to stop this looting, this plunder, is to go for a revolutionary government. So we don't want that. We want to stay within the Constitution. So that's precisely why Cielo Magno and Heidi Mendoza proposed that, and we will be we'll try to convince everybody, let's do this. I mean, that's really the last resort, Richard. We've tried to do it to Congress. They refuse, of course. We've tried with the Supreme Court. It's taking time, and in the meantime, people are losing hope. We have to show the way that there is a last recourse, and this is really the last recourse.
So a good PI, kasi we had that PI the other year, di ba?
That PI that they did was to amend the Constitution. But you cannot amend the Constitution through PI because the Supreme Court already said the law is defective as far as amending the Constitution, but it's good as far as enacting an ordinary legislation. And this is an ordinary legislation. So we have this pathway because you've awakened the people now. They are indignant, and you have to propose a solution, because otherwise the RevGov people will propose the solution if you don't have an alternative. So we are proposing this.
So Justice, in that sense, you need the trillion peso march to become a trillion peso movement to collect the number of signatories, right? For a good
We will have to the parishes, the schools will have to work on this. No, uh, it's tough because we will be opposed by the congressman because they don't want. Put the political dynasties will throw all the monkey wrench.
But
So
they should be
that will
scared now because people will go people will go ape crazy like if they did, di ba? I mean, galit ang tao ngayon. I mean, if tignan mo yung ginawa nila kay Chavit and I don't know, Ipe and all and mga DDS. So imagine if a congressman was there, talagang yayakin siya ng tao, di ba? It would be like yung movie na Perfume, di ba? Um, uh, Justice, what about yung ideas about yung participatory budgeting and auditing, yung sinasabi ni Heidi Mendoza, I had her also on my show the other day, yung i-involve mo yung mga civil engineering associations, public accountants, para bantayan din yung mga budget, aside from,
yeah.
kugin to mga dynasties na to.
Yes. What we can do is because anyway, we're going to get the signatures for the People's Initiative. We will have several to uh, to enact the anti-political dynasty law. One is uh, to amend the procurement law to allow the participation of the civil society and NGOs in the bidding and selection process. And another one, we will have uh, another initiative to enact the freedom of information law because we still don't have that. Because that's the big problem. Getting all of these contracts on the ghost projects, it takes time. No? So, and then the last one will be this is a suggestion of Heidi Mendoza because she said that there are many of these public officials who have been meted out disallowances by the Commission on Appointments, a Commission on Audit, and these allowances are already final, but they don't pay, but they run for government office. So we will say if you have not, there is a final disallowance against you by the COA, and you are running for public office, you will be disqualified unless you pay those disallowances. So that will prevent these people because what they do, uh, they spend and spend. They don't follow COA rules, and there's a disallowance, but they don't pay the disallowance. They just pay a little and run for public office, and then get money again to pay a little bit of the disallowance. So it's another form of flood control, no? Flood control projects,
Oh,
but
like,
at the LGU level. This is at the LGU level.
lot of kapalan ng mukha. Talagang garapalan talaga. Just the more you get to know, the more you realize. I compared this to multiple organ failure, di ba? Ay, ang daming mga failing parts sabay-sabay Kaya nga, your response should be on multiple fronts. Speaking of multiple front, let's talk about the independent Commission on Infrastructure. Justice, let me apologize kasi I already shared when TV5 and all mentioned you there. But people close to both of us reached out to me, said, Richard, but sa pagkaalam ko, hindi yata kasama si Justice. So I had to check with my inner sanctum sources and they immediately confirmed na no, that was a false news, fake news. So, Justice, what is the score here? And what do you think about the current composition and mandate of the Independent Commission on Infrastructure?
Well, I said I could not accept or reject membership in the commission because there was never an offer. So there was never an
But
offer.
why would they put you on the list? That's fake news naman yan. Bakit? Why would they do that? Para lang magkaroon ng traction.
Well, it's actually our media friends who put my name there because they wish I would be there.
I
But
think it's more like that. Alam niya si Darian, mag-iingay na naman yan si Darian. Sabi nila. Kaso yun nga, wait, wala kami imbita. Alam mo yan, so I have to ask my sources. No, I don't think so. So, Justice, what do you think about the composition? I know you personally kept on saying you want Heidi Mendoza there, you want Cello there, you want other people with expertise in good governance reforms and budget participatory budgeting and transparency. But what is your thinking about the current, is it Angie Reyes, it's Mayor Magalong, Singson, like, so what is your thinking about that? Kailangan ba na may justice doon? Kailangan ba talaga may magistrate? Like, what is your thinking?
Well, there should at least be a lawyer there, and there's only one lawyer there now. Well, the commission is there already, so I said that we will give it the benefit of doubt, uh, but we will judge them based on their actions and decisions. Because the way I look at it, there are three groups na sangkot dito. No? You have the group of Romualdez, and then you have the group of Duterte during his term, and you have those who are supporting uh, the president, like the officials in Ilocos Norte, because they have their own flood control projects. So we will be watching the ICI that they will not focus only on the Duterte people. They have to cover everybody. They have to investigate everybody, because the moment they focus only on their people, I think that will be bad. It will lose credibility, and that means that more we give them the benefit of the doubt, but we will judge them based on their actions and decisions.
You say you didn't sound very convinced, Justice. I know that was a very diplomatic. Parang, wala na, andyan na eh. Tingnan na lang natin. Oh, sige, okay, Justice. What are the red flags you're watching out for? And what are the good things you're looking forward to? Ganun na lang. Sige, anong mga expectation dapat natin? At anong bantayan natin na medyo red flag?
Well, I think they should focus on the ghost projects first, because that's the easiest. No? They file that because there's no defense on that. No? And all those who signed off to pay, that means they were all bought. No? And then they go to the substandard and then the overpriced projects. No? And to show good faith, let them start in Ilocos Norte as Chavit Singson recommended. Start with Ilocos Norte. And if they start with Ilocos Norte, then people will start to believe.
Well, yun nga, you wonder how close the president is willing to dance with this fire, di ba? Parang lumalapit eh, parang cobra eh, di ba? Parang siyang cobra, lumalapit kay BBM eh, parang, I mean, he has opened really a Pandora's box here, no? Justice, I mean, now, I wrote it also kanina sa Nikkei Asia Pisco about, now people are also gonna wonder, wait lang, kamusta yung mga ill-gotten wealth cases ng mga Marcoses and their cronies? According to Rappler, they had a historic number of wins sa mga ill-gotten wealth cases. I think 12 victories over the past year. Is that something we have to watch out for? Kasi baka habang we're all looking at the corruption now, some are saying maybe you have to look at the ill-gotten wealth issue, which is also a form of, I mean, nepo kids din sila, di ba, after all.
Well, what I've been reading in the papers is that all these cases are being dismissed one by one. That's what's
May
happening.
conspiracy theory na baka pampagulo lang yan. This is all like a fig leaf smoke screen. Tapos, the real deal is happening behind the scenes, di ba? But Justice, so for instance, dito sa powers ng independent commission nito, so they have motu proprio powers, they can even coordinate, I don't know, almost extradition, parang ganun na nakita ko eh. All sorts of different travel bans, etc., preventative, travel bans. What is your read of the mandate of the independent commission?
Well, I think the commission has been given the whatever powers the executive, the president could delegate. No, but Laila de Lima is correct. The commission cannot cite anyone in contempt. They have to file a case in court to cite them in contempt, and that's very important because if people don't appear there, they'll have to go to court to cite you in contempt, no? Or if the people don't answer or whatever, they don't have contempt powers. They have to file a case in court. So Laila de Lima is saying that we should pass a law, that they should pass a law. Well, I hope they'll pass a law to give it teeth, no? But Richard, in our scheme of government, it should be the ombudsman who should be investigating this because he has all the powers and he has access to the
Yeah,
AMLA.
that's my point.
Because when you file your statement of assets and liabilities, you say, I authorize the ombudsman to check, verify my assets and liabilities with any government office, and AMLA is a government office. But we don't have an ombudsman yet, and people are saying that uh, it has to be an independent body, and that's where we are now. No,
Yeah, kaya nga, I'm wondering, are we also getting over distracted by this independent commission while the big deal really is who's gonna be the next ombudsman, no? And parang na-delay na naman yung JBC, yung
yeah,
parang,
it was
parang
delayed
delays eh.
because
Yeah.
IME filed a
Pero
disqualification case against Secretary Remulla because he allegedly kidnapped former President Duterte when President Duterte was sent to the Hague, no, and that was dismissed. And Pulong now, the son, filed another kidnapping case before the ombudsman also. So to disqualify uh, Remulla because they think that it will be Remulla who will be appointed by the president now. So there's none. There's nobody there as of now, and it's been several weeks already.
yun nga, delayed ng delayed. But isn't
Yeah,
it interesting, they keep on filing these kidnapping cases while begging the ICC to allow them to have an interim release and reassuring them na hindi tatakas si Digong sa kanyang kidnappers. Isn't that the most
yeah.
tragic
That's
and
why the ICC prosecutors pointed that out that since they don't recognize that they were arrested properly, that they are being detained properly, that means if you allow them to live, they'll not go back. I mean, because they believe they were kidnapped.
who will go back to their kidnappers, right? Like,
Yeah,
give
nobody
me a
will.
release, but come back to me, right? I mean, it doesn't make sense.
Yes, that's why. But that's why. But they file these cases, even if it will hurt the motion for interim release of the father. So the son filed this, even if it will hurt the father's motion for interim release.
Justice, I have a very good theory on that. Nagkaroon ako ng epiphany last night. Remember yung live na ginawa natin, Justice, habang Digong was being arrested? Tapos sabi ko, Justice, hindi ba rendition nangyari? Extraordinary rendition. And I remember that. And then, di ba, they use that exactly yung term na rendition, di ba? And then, I think they realized, wait lang, rendition, di naman magigets ng mga kadidiyas natin. Tawagin natin kidnapping. Yan, magigets ng taong bayan. And then, in the end, that will come back to bite them, di ba? Kasi once they called ICC kidnappers, you were never gonna get the interim release or anything like that. So,
Yeah.
in short, they fell into our trap.
Yeah, because why will they accept the premise that they kidnap? They're going to release.
Feeling ko may kinalaman yan dun sa rendition natin. Eh. Di ba nagpanic na, oh my God, ginamit yung sinabi natin rendition. Tapos biglang, rendition, di naman mag-gets, kidnapping na lang sabihin natin. Ayan tuloy. But Justice, I mean, it gets worse, right? Sabi nga ni Sarah, may love life pa daw si Digong. I mean, this guy, he has time for love life. He has clearly the energy and the juices for love life. Pero hindi na siya fit to stand for trial. What is your understanding of what happened there? Because I was supposed to be an ICC now to observe it. Biglang na-postpone lahat eh.
Yeah, well, the prosecution, in fact, mentioned that the family has been there, never complained that he has lost his mind. So that contradicts the claim of Kaufman, no?
Ito bang gusto lang ba patagalin yung metro niya yung kasi by the hour ang charge dito eh. Or I think Attorney Carranza posted something about the possibility that they were worried na magpe-present ng mga witnesses. Even though parang ano to eh, di ba? Preliminary lang ito or pre-trial.
Yes.
Mukhang things were gonna move forward very fast and mukhang nagpanic yata sila Kaufman eh, kaya they were asking for a timeout, desperate timeout yun.
Yeah, because there are two witnesses in the custody of the ICC now. Now you have Las Cañas and Bato, and they're primed. They've been prepared for this.
So kaya yung Garma, sabi kong Garmin. Yung Garma, 'di ba? What about the Garma angle if ma-handover siya dito?
Yeah, she will also be a vital witness because she can testify that she was directed to kill somebody in prison. No?
Exactly. So how do you see the ICC case going, Justice?
Well, I think they will not grant him interim release, and the the evidence is overwhelming because he has a lot of admissions. I mean, under oath, and I think Kaufman is worried. Really, the reason why Kaufman doesn't want to go trial is because Duterte might just speak there and say, "I
Terminate
admit
himself.
everything."
So
He said,
baka Duterte thinks he's fit but not Kaufman. Baka yun yung situation.
because Duterte will talk the way he talked before the Senate and the House, and he will admit everything.
I mean, speaking of that, the other day, nag-trending to, si Ipe was saying, walang magnanakaw na Duterte. Tapos biglang i-clip ni Duterte, marami na akong ninakaw. Kaso naubos ko na eh. I mean, that guy, he got away with so much, no? Grabe yung ano niya, no? Yung demagogic charisma niya, no? The way he can, talaga kami, marami rin ako ninakaw. Kaso, naubusan ko na rin. So parang naging kawawa pa siya. Parang siya pa yung kawawa. But Justice, before we go to the last part of our discussion, because I want to talk about the West Philippines Sea, yung plano for, I don't know, natural park, blah, 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 ng China, which is, I think, a very troubling issue we have to discuss shortly. Um, what do you think? I mean, doesn't it make sense for Marcos, since he has opened the Pandora's box, to go after, well, eto Polong, dun sa 51 billion, ganon, the confident, allegedly mga Bongo family involved dito sa mga ano. Like, doesn't it make sense for Marcos is to actually move on that front? Kasi parang on the defensive sila ngayon eh. Parang he just set up his
Yeah.
own allies into trouble.
Well, that's the work now of the ICI because the ICI should investigate Pulong because he has the biggest budget of anyone in Congress. That's 51 billion over 3 years. I mean, small change sila ano. All the others are just small change compared to Pulong.
Billion
And
dollar to, yeah.
yeah, they released a video, showing that in Davao, uh, the flood control is working. But I saw a list already of flood control projects of Pulong in the awarded contracts. It's there with the name of the contractors. And so I think what the media should do is just to crowdsource ask everybody to go to the sites and take pictures if these are existing completed projects or they are ghost projects. You can easily determine that, no? And remember, Pulong said, all my projects have been completed properly. So he already made that statement. So, and I think media now has a copy of these projects, the places of these projects. So they all have to go to do is to go there and take pictures. If indeed the projects have been completed.
Indeed, I mean, if he's gonna stand by it, then he has to prove it, right? Kasi si Mayor Magalong said that there is indeed a Diskaya project in Baguio, 120 million pesos. Pero meron din siyang mahabang statement where he explained na may mga kapalpakan din nangyari siguro dyan. So, ang mangyari is dapat magkakaroon sila ng accountability. So, he didn't stand by that project 100%. He said there was that project, it won through the bidding, pero may mga pagkakulang and accordingly there will be a recompense.
Yeah,
But
that's the tennis court, I think.
100 million pesos tennis court. I mean, that must be Wimbledon.
Yeah, maybe you've been playing there, huh?
Para sabi ko, sayang parang anong court yan sa Baguio, hindi ko naabutan, Justice. Pero maganda yung barangay hall namin, in fairness. Magkapitbahay lang kami ni Mayor sa Baguio. Last part, Justice, this is a serious part, important part. Sa pagkaalam ko, last week lang nagkaroon ng Manila Forum. Andyan yung mga ka-DDS natin ng experts, no? And si Victor Gao, yung sikat na Chinese na expert was also here in Manila last week. So big things have been happening, and obviously kasama sa big things na yan, itong announcement ng China na magkakaroon ng, I don't know, natural, whatever, ecological park, whatever, which we were discussing 10 years ago together. Itong worry natin na in the guise of environmental, blah, 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 something will happen. But my sense also, Justice, is dahil dun sa nangyaring latest incident kung saan nagsalpukan yung dalawang barko ng China, parang under pressure sila to show strength or something like that eh. Parang but nevertheless, what do you see? Is this just ano lang nagmamagaling lang bang China, or is this is something very very serious and therefore there should be some very serious response?
Very serious, Richard, because remember, in 1987, China announced to the world that China will put up a radar weather station on Fiery Cross Reef to help UNESCO in its global oceanic survey. So it was a very harmless, very laudable project, and nobody bothered to question them. That radar weather station is now an air and naval base. 3 kilometer of landing strip. All bombers, any kind of bomber can land and take off there. Even the uh, shuttle of the U.S. can land there. So it's a huge air and naval base. So they start with that. They start with a very harmless, noble ecological project, but it turns out to be a military outpost later on. And that's what they did also with Mischief Reef in 1995. We discovered that they
Fishing hut.
started with
Yeah.
those fishermen's huts. And they said, oh, this is just a fisherman's hut in case of bad weather. Even your Filipinos can shelter here. What is Mischief Reef now? It's the largest air and naval base of China in the Spratlys, no? And that will happen to Scarborough Shoal. They're saying, oh, we will just put up a nature reserve here, a national nature reserve, but you need a monitoring station to have a nature reserve. So they will build something there, and that can expand into a air and naval base later on. So this is really a move by China to establish an air and naval base, because this is the last air and naval base that they will put up to control the South China Sea. They have one. They have several in the Spratlys. They have several in the Paracels, and they need a third one in the northeast side, that's Scarborough side, so they can cover the entire South China Sea with their fighter jets. They can cover all the entire South China Sea with their cruise missiles. They can cover the entire South China. South. Right now, they have a big hole on the northeast side. That's why when Obama was about to leave office, the Chinese were sending dredgers. The dredgers were sailing towards Scarborough Shoal, and Obama said, "If you do that, there will be serious consequences." And China backed off. Their dredgers went back, but that plan has always been there, and they're going to implement that soon.
Yun nga eh. So you had that towards the end of the Aquino administration, but even under the Duterte administration, back then Secretary Lorenzana said it would be too close to home. In short, unacceptable. Even Cayetano, in his
Yeah,
most patriotic moments, said that kasama yan sa mga three no's.
yeah. He said it's a red line.
Exactly. So why are we now in 2025 in a situation whereby China may finally move forward with this, when in fact probably now we're more capable than ever and more determined than ever to push back? Or is that exactly why China is doing this, because they're
Well,
worried?
China is also they have the largest naval fleet in the world, the largest Coast Guard fleet in the world, the largest submarine forces in the world. We have improved our capability, but theirs have gone up far, far more than
Exponentially.
what we have done. No? So they think that it's overdue already, because they've been wanting to put up an air and naval base, and they need that also in case they invade Taiwan, because they have to block the Basi Channel, and they can block it from there if they have an air and naval base. So it's really to control the South China Sea, but they need it also for their invasion of Taiwan.
Right. So what can we do, Justice? Back you basically implied U.S. will be an important element of this, because from Obama to Trump and Biden, we kind of drew the red line along. Even the Duterte administration did that. So what are the options right now?
Well, legal, and then uh, i- we go legal, and we also increase our security arrangements with other countries, the U.S. and other like-minded states. Legal, because the tribunal said Scarborough Shoal is a common fishing ground. And therefore, any act to make a reserve there has to be agreed by the three countries that compose the whose fishermen have a right to fish there. So we can go back and say China is doing that unilaterally. So we will put them on the defensive there. China will not appear, of course, because they know they will lose. But we will have the world again on our side because we follow the rule of law. And uh, and we have to explain because for China to declare a national marine reserve there, marine nature reserve, they're actually exercising sovereignty. And
Right.
therefore, this is now a sovereignty issue, no longer a maritime dispute. So, but the Philippine government has no historical and legal narrative on why we are claiming sovereignty over Scarborough Shoal and the Calayan Island Group. I mean, you go to the YouTube, you will see there uh, the Presidential Legal Counsel and really saying, wag na natin pag-usapan yung
Ah,
Scarborough, hindi
yeah.
sa atin yan. That's outside the Treaty of Paris lines. We don't have a common narrative, historical and legal. So I've been saying, let's adopt that first, because how do you defend our country if you don't have a master plan? I mean, you're going to debate with China before the world, and you don't know what the basis of your claim. You're claiming sovereignty, but you don't know why you're claiming sovereignty because iba-ibang pinagsasabi natin eh. You have Father Bernas saying na we cannot claim that under treaty law because it's not part of the Treaty of Paris. He practically
So we have to
adopts it.
get our own house in order.
Yes, we have to agree ano ba talaga? What is our legal basis and historical basis? Because how can we convince the US and all the rest of the world to help us defend if we cannot even have come out with a theory?
Madali ang solution dyan, Justice. We'll create a RevGov, a single party, one line. There's just one line. Makukulong ka if it's just
Yeah,
China. Like,
and I think our DFA people they're in the front line. They're the frontliners here, but they have not come out with a historical and legal narrative. They came out before. They said, "Oh, because of Tomas Cloma, with respect to the Spratlys," but Tomas Cloma came too late. I mean, that's why it's called the Spratlys because Richard Spratley discovered it. It
right.
was not Tomas Cloma. So they have to get their act together, and that's why I've been saying the DFA people are the frontliners here. This is foreign policy. Uh, they should take the initiative. How can they defend our sovereignty when they don't know the basis?
Ang dami natin problema, no? Justice, minsan inisip ko bakit like, like, over the past hour, we're almost done with this. Like, just, ang dami natin problema. Like, on all fronts, may kulang tayo. Which is where I want to end this discussion, not by that negative note, but Justice, what should we do tayo mga progressives, liberals, whatever you want to call it, yung mga Team Philippines? What should we do in order to get our house in order to overcome this mess and also to protect yung ating bansa? Because related yan, di ba, Justice? For all we know, there are nefarious foreign forces behind kaguluhan sa ating bansa or would be interested in creating an Indonesia-Nepal-style situation, di ba? So, connected na lahat yan eh.
Well, on the foreign policy, we should agree now. I mean, the DFA, the DepEd, Historical Commission should agree what is our historical narrative. I've been lecturing on this. No? I've been proposing, and then on the corruption. Well, let's do the people's initiative because it has to move. People must see that we are moving, that we have a plan. Otherwise, if you don't have a plan, then you cannot expect the people to hope that this can be resolved. So, for people to have hope, there must be a plan that will offer them. We will offer them.
On that note, Justice, let's work on that plan because I think
Mm.
people are looking for a blueprint. Hindi naman pwede anger lang. Wag din tayo makinig kay Vice Ganda, mapunta na naman tayo sa Duterte style mindset. So let's find something solid, technical, legal, and within our constitutional framework. Mabuhay ka, Justice Carpet. Thank you so much for your dedication. I mean, we could see, bumalik yung mga inis natin sa West Philippine Sea, no? Parang, just when I thought we're gonna have an off-ramp, lalo tayo nainis. Parang, oh my God, hindi rin natin inayos yung claims natin sa Panatag Shoal. But then again, that's why we have to do what we have to do, Justice Carpio. Thank you so much. And hopefully later this week, Justice, we can have you in person if your schedule permits para catch up naman tayo with Sir Ronald in person. Let's do
Okay.
our
Yeah,
special guesting.
looking forward towards that. Okay.
God bless, Justice. Talk to you soon. Have
Okay.
a good
Thank
night.
you.
Salamat.